My name is Edward Lujan. Very early on, my father and my mother both, but he said, if the good Lord gave you any talents, they're not yours to keep. They're yours to help others. That's what we're here for. My first job as a school teacher was a remedial reading. And part of it was kind of an experiment on Santa Fe school system at the time. Reading was just as bad then as it is now. We're just not getting through to. One of the experiences that I had was unbelievable. There was this young man in class, probably a third, fourth grade reading level in the 8th grade, but smart as a whip. You could tell he was a very, very smart young man. So one day I thought, this is crazy. He's just not doing what he should be doing. So I brought him in to talk to him after school. And I'm telling him how smart he is and so on. And all of a sudden, he looks at me very polite. And he said, please don't tell me that. And I said, why? He said, because it doesn't make any difference. My grandfather's on welfare, my father's on welfare, and that's where I'm going to be. So why do I need reading? I thought he was going to drop out in the 8th grade. He didn't. He went to the 9th grade. Then I kind of lost track of him. I did find out he'd gone to high school. And one day we were at the Capitol at the legislature, and we walked into, and so this young man pops out. And he said, Mr. Lujan, he said, how are you, blah, 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 blah. And he said, you remember me? And I said, not really. I said, but I do think you were in one of my classes. That was the boy. And I said, what are you doing now? He says, I'm the bookkeeper for the welfare department. It impacted me so much. That's the kind of thing I needed to do. I started with the National Hispanic Cultural Center. It started in 1983. Culture to me is like a four-legged stool. It's about its language, it's about its history, it's about its food, and it's about its art. Not just Hispanic culture, any culture. So we began to look at that, and as a foundation, we raised money to put on a program for teachers and teach teachers of culture. And the teachers would teach the youngsters, and it preserved the culture and it preserved it. In order for this to be perpetual, we need some stationary place, just like you have here. This is never going to go away. Ricardo Montalban, who was the famous actor from Mexico, came to speak to the Hispano Chamber, and he was talking about diversity, and he said a whole lot of things. He started his talk by saying that when he came here, he met a good friend, and now that he's here, he wanted his friend to meet his mother. And what he was talking about, his friend was the United States, and his mother was Mexico. And then he gave his speech, and he said, as a young boy, my father would bring us across the border, and he said, I kind of know discrimination. Here it's ethnic discrimination. There it's economic discrimination. But he said, we'd come here, and I'd see these signs saying, Mexicans can't eat here. And really, I felt at the time that he was saying that, I said, wait a minute. This country is a country of opportunities. And if we begin to put these chips on their shoulders, first they can't run, and then they can't walk, and then they're done. And we said, we can't let that happen. Then he stopped and said, I have never been discriminated against by someone who knows me. And I thought, that's the Cultural Center. The Cultural Center is not necessarily it's not just for Hispanics. It's about Hispanic culture. If I teach you my culture, there's a very good chance you're going to teach me yours. And if we can do that and teach each other our cultures, can you imagine what this world would be like? In accepting this regard, it's not about me. It may be about the things that I've done, and that's what's important. The JCC is a very important really important part of this community. I'm amazed at the things that you have done, because it's all about people. And if this could be done even more by others, and this world would be a whole lot different. And it needs to be.